So I'm going to run through the initial portion of our roster reveal. So we'll go into detail a little bit. So the first one we have is, as you may have seen, Lord Mazdamundi.
Well, he's the big fat toad, although he doesn't like to be called that, that you saw in the trailer. And he, I don't know if he invented magic casting, but he's really good at casting.
Yeah.
He's really good at casting. We've added some new mechanics to show just how good he is at casting.
Oh.
So if you compare him to casters, like good casters we had previously, he's going to be better than previous casters at casting.
Awesome.
Have I used the word casting enough?
I don't think so.
Okay, so apart from casting, he also floats on a little platform, which I think we also saw in the first trailer.
Yep.
The platform is quite slow. He's not going to be awesome at the melee business, but he doesn't have to because he's a caster, and he'll be casting pretty much all the time.
Casting.
Casting.
Great.
Spells.
So we've mentioned Mazdamundi. We also have Kroq-Gar as our second legendary lord.
So yeah, Kroq-Gar is really good at fighting. He's the fighty option. Don't know if he's the best fighter out there, but he's probably within the top 2. He's really good at biting and at hitting people. He's going to be armor piercing. Very hard hitting guy. All of our Saurus, he's a Saurus, we'll get to that later, but all of our Saurus are pretty tough and pretty hard hitting, and he's like the king of all of those. He's the best of those. And he's riding the best of the Carnosaurs out there. Kroq-Gar is known as a Beastmaster. He's pretty good in taming animals and being able to ride them. So we'll get to this later, but he'll also be in really good control of his Grimlock Carnosaur. Nice.
So our generic lords that we also have, we'll have a Slann-Mage Priest and a Saurus Old Blood, as well as a Saurus Scar Veteran as the hero. There are different types of Saurus, but largely they stand upright. They're kind of bigger, hencher than your Skinks, which are the smaller units that you saw in the recent Lizardman announced trailer. You could see one of them flying on the back of the Pterodons, fell, bless him. Those are Skinks. Saurus are bigger. And also included with Saurus, we've got Saurus Warriors with shield, Saurus Spears with shields. Am I missing anything Saurus related?
Yes, later on I think the Temple Guard we could also call the Saurus. So we've got
So what are the differences there between them?
Sauruses altogether. So first of all, the main thing that sets a Saurus apart from any other regular medium heavy infantry is that while they are normally good natured, they can get really angry, and then their primal instincts take over, and then they get a little bit harder to control. And that's what we're going for with the entire Lizardman army, which is a selection of units that are smart and in control of themselves, like the Skinks, and then progressively less in control of themselves the larger they get, I dare say.
Yeah.
So a Saurus, he'll be just fine as long as he's not under pressure. If you poke him a bit too much, he might go on a rampage.
There we go. So a little bit on Skinks. So I mentioned we've got a Skink Chief who has mount options as well. We have a Skink Priest who was the caster equivalent. Also both heroes there. And the Skinks generally, we've got Skink Cohorts with shields, Skink Cohorts with javelins, Skink Skirmishers with blowpipes, and Chameleon Skinks, as I mentioned, one of my personal favourites, just as a unit, just because they're so versatile and can cause a lot of damage really early on. So what can you tell us about the different versions of Skinks there?
Yeah, so we've got a ton of Skinks in the game. You've mentioned the 4 infantry Skink versions there,
Correct.
but then every second monster is manned by a Skink, and every monster that is manned by a Skink will not go on a rampage. So the Skinks are really good at they've got this hive mind thing going on. They're all in perfect control of whatever beast they're riding. They've tamed it, they've trained it really well. So the Skinks are light infantry. They come with all the downsides of that, like cavalry will just annihilate them. But apart from that, they have really good leadership, which is unusual for light infantry. Pretty high leadership across the board on the Lizardman. If you like strong and stable leadership, don't look further than the Lizardman, I dare say. The Skinks have then the Cohort version, which has no missile weapon.
Right.
But the Cohort Javelins is the same unit with Javelins. So you get a unit that is as big as any other melee infantry unit, but with a couple of Javelins. So it's a hybrid. You'll run out of ammo pretty quickly, but you'll have this insane alpha damage just because there's so many Skinks in one of these units. And the skink blowpipe guys, they're more your move and fire, annoying harassment unit. All skinks are pretty fast, so you could run away from cavalry if you're lucky. They're aquatic, so they're actually better in water, which is
We've got a
like
funny
shallow
story
water.
about that.
So we've got, chameleon skinks we haven't mentioned yet.
That's true.
I was so looking forward to say the chameleon skinks are the stealthiest unit in the game.
But
Then I remembered, oh damn it, we've got the treeman from the Wood Elves, and a tree man standing idle in a forest is actually a little bit stealthier,
yeah.
a little bit harder to spot. But apart from that, chameleon skinks, you'll be probably hit before you know it.
Do they have poison also?
Pretty much all skinks have poison,
Brilliant.
I believe. Yeah, so they're not the cohort ones. Every missile weapon of a skink will have poison, and the chameleon skinks, I believe, also have poison on their melee weapon. Yeah, they're a really good unit to combine with the rest of your army. So
Right.
none of these lizardman units by themselves will excel at anything. But if you combine a skink with one of the monsters we're still going to talk about, you're going to get the benefit of all this poison, while the monster might be taking all the damage for you, and then the skinks will shine.
But
Yeah.
now we're on to Croxigores.
Are we doing Croxigores?
Yep.
Okay, Croxigores are larger than a Saurus, smaller than your large monsters. They're a bit like a really angry standing crocodile.
Yeah.
But they don't like to be called that.
No.
So
They're
yeah.
really they're much larger. I think they're much.
yeah, they're troll size.
Yeah.
But then they're bulkier than a troll. Not quite as fat. A little bit slower, but as fast as a skink. So then you can have really nice army builds with skinks and Croxigores, and in the tabletop they go hand in hand
Yeah.
pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah. So then we have our cold ones. We have feral cold ones, cold one riders, and cold one spear riders. What are the differences between those three?
So feral, or the cold one to start with, is a chunkier raptor-like cavalry
That's
unit.
certainly the inspiration, I believe.
I don't know if you could call it a cavalry unit if it's not mounted and if it runs on two legs. It's hard to classify. So in game terms, the cold one itself is an armor-piercing unit that moves roughly as fast as an orc boar. And the idea with the feral cold ones, which don't exist in tabletop, was that across the board we really wanted to see more dinosaurs on the battlefield at any given point in time. It wouldn't have been nice to play the lizardmen and not have big dinosaurs at any point in campaign, for example. So instead of unlocking them really late in campaign because they are so powerful, we've added a couple of feral ones. They've just about been found. They're not really trained yet. They're not really tamed yet. They will go on a rampage really quickly, but if you point them in the right direction just before they go on a rampage, they can be really useful. So it's a cheap unit for what it does. It doesn't have as many entities as the proper cavalry unit. It's nowhere near as well trained in anything, but it's an entry point to the dinosaur business, which we can't call dinosaur business.
So we also have horned ones. Tell us a little bit about them.
You skipped it. Yeah,
I did?
Yeah, between the feral cold ones and the horned ones, we've got the normal cold ones, which are either ridden by Saurus with a stick, the spear guys, which are good against large, or the Saurus with a club, maul kind of weapon, which is your slightly cheaper cold one rider variant. So the good news about the cold ones is, despite them being a bit fewer per unit than in your normal cavalry, they are all armor piercing. They'll chew through dwarfs and everything. They're quite reliable. They're the most offensive, not verbally offensive. They're the most assaulty. What's the word? The most
I'd say offensive.
damage dealing oriented, focused unit probably of the Lizardman army. And then you've got the three tastes, which is feral, normal, and spear. And then there's a hint in one army book somewhere on page 92 about a special cold one called the horned one, which very rarely spawns. He's got a little horn on his nose, and they are known to be swifter, wilder, more angry in general than the regular cold one. So he hits a bit harder, he charges a bit harder, he runs a bit harder, but he's very hard to control. So this is again a unit that
Bit
will
of a
have a
risk
degree
taker.
of rampaging happening. Yeah.
Gotcha. So on to flying missile cavalry. We've got pterodon riders and an additional with fire leech bowlers. And I believe that is what these are here. Is that what we saw drop in the trailer that was released recently?
Yeah, so there's been some speculation of what kind of pterodons we've got in the game based on the trailer. In the trailer we see a single one with a regular skink on top. What we'll have in the game is the skink chief on a pterodon.
Mm-hmm.
We've got the skink priest on a pterodon, so a caster on a pterodon. We've got your regular pterodon unit with javelin chucking guys.
Right.
And then we've got the best regular pterodon unit, which is it's got this bowler, and the bowler has a little eel or leech at the end. Once you make that eel angry, it tends to explode. So what they do is they swirl it around, which makes the eel angry, or the leech, sorry, throw it at the enemy, and it's an explosive weapon, which is really good against infantry units that are like unarmored infantry will be quite scared. They're flying, they're fast. The range is not too good on these guys, but who cares if the enemy doesn't have flying units, right?
Pew, pew. Yeah,
nice harassing units. Also, as you can possibly tell if I hold it really close to you, there's this little ball underneath them. They clutch a little rock in their feet, and they can drop the rock, similar to how gyrocopters drop bombs.
Yep.
Only one of those rocks, but when that hits your head, you're out.
Yeah.
Nice little rock.
Nice. So moving on, this is our monster category now. So we have a feral Bastillodon.
Yeah, so from all the larger creatures, the Bastillodon is the slowest and the most content.
He seems pretty chill.
Yeah, he won't go off biting everyone. I don't know if he's an omnivore. I don't know if he just eats plants normally. So he's the most tanky of our dinosaurs. He's got really thick armored skin. He's the most adorable of our dinosaurs, which means no one will really be attacking it because
how could you?
No, only bad people shoot at a Bastillodon. The feral version is just him. He's going to be quite cheap because of that, and if anyone were to dare to shoot at it, which would be stupid and mark you as a bad person, you'd just be wasting ammo, and that's how you use it. So
he's very well armoured.
Yeah, you use it as a damage sponge.
Nice. Then we have our feral Stegodon.
Yeah, so slightly less well-natured. Lots of horns pointing forwards means lots of charge damage when he crashes into guys. He's an angrier beast. He's slightly bigger than a Bastillodon. He's there to bring the damage home.
Yes, worth noting that there are 3 versions of the Bastillodon. We have the revivification. That's really hard to say. Revivification crystal. What does that entail?
This is new to everyone who's played Total War. Tabletop. TT. This is something. We decided to make this unit for various reasons. One of them is that we're trying to find a faction flavor for the Lizardmen to make them play a little bit more different than any other factions. So the units stand out, but as a faction as a whole, we wanted to stand out a bit more. And combined with Rampage, what that meant is anything that heals a Lizardman is good for us for army tactics reasons. And at the same time, Lizardmen, like if they lose a tail, they can grow it back, I guess. So it was neat. And the Lizardmen spawn out of spawn pools. They're not. So it was quite fitting that we'd have a unit that is more or less like a moving spawn pool that can reinforce and resurrect units as they drop in battle.
Amazing.
And Games Workshop was happy with it. The artists were happy with it. We were happy with it. So we just said, okay, we've got the Bastillodon. We're going to do this unit. And it's a lot of fun to be able, like your little skinks go, they die quite quickly. You've got your Bastillodon in the back, just healing them back up. You have a little flash go off, and that's a lot of fun.
The trick is you have to be able to say it first time. Good luck. We also have Bastillodon with the solar engine.
Yeah, that's the classic Bastillodon, as everyone knows it and loves it. It's a big laser on its back that collects sunlight, projects it forward to burn the target. If the target hasn't died, it's probably blinded for a while.
Nice.
So there's multiple use cases for this. You can shoot at enemy artillery pieces if you do get into range, because the range isn't too good. But let's say you got into range, you shoot at artillery. Now that artillery is blinded, will have really bad accuracy, will shoot God knows where. Or you just use it to burn high importance targets like the
Luminarch.
Similar to the Luminark, yeah. So a bit cheaper, bit less range, I believe, bit less accurate, but still a really, really good missile weapon.
Cool. And then we have finally, so I mentioned that we had this Feral Stegodon. We also have a Stegodon and with giant crossbow, and also an ancient Stegodon with giant blowpipes.
Yeah. So two units based on the Stegodon, but a little bit different in how to play them. The giant crossbow is roughly like a bolt thrower. It's got a really decent range. It's the longest range artillery unit in the Lizardman army. I think the giant crossbow is even, it is poisonous. So you've got that, but the little skinks on the back are also poisonous. So even if your giant crossbow misses, you've still got a couple of skinks poisoning everything while the Stegodon does its thing. So it's probably the most autonomously operatable artillery machine in the game, just because like even if you run out of ammo or if the enemy is too close, it's still a Stegodon. It's still a really mean dinosaur you play with. And the ancient one is a much older Stegodon, more armor because of that, thicker skin, better leadership, and the weapon of choice on the ancient Stegodons are two giant blowpipes, which in our game act like a little machine gun. So this is the Stegodon you want to take against hordes of infantry.
So that's pretty much the full army roster for the
we
Lizardmen.
missed the Temple Guards. We didn't
did?
actually talk much about the Temple Guards.
Let's do it.
Temple Guards. So I mentioned how all Saurus guys can go crazy. Temple Guards have been standing guard for years and years without moving. They do not go crazy. They are your one Saurus that is fine.
Unflappable Saurus.
Is that a word? No, it is. Yeah, so they've got halberd and shield, which is quite new because most of our halberds are two-handed weapons. But if you're the size of a Temple Guard, someone else's two-handed weapon is just like a toothpick for him. It's a pretty big halberd he's got, but he's strong. He's got it in one hand, and then he's got a little shield in the other hand.
So that is the Lizardmen army roster, and as I mentioned, this is a development in progress, so some of the information may be subject to change, but we will have that available on, I believe, Grace, the website. That will be available shortly, and we will have information on the magic laws for the Lizardmen coming later, but soon. We hope that you enjoyed it. I've been Joey Dalton. This is Alistair Gerald.
Bye-bye, people.
It's been really nice to see you guys again.
Bye-bye.
That's a grudging.
Bye-bye.